Okay, the live streaming apparently stopped because of some issue, technical issue, not sure what. Lots of updates to the Apple computers and the whole environment. So hopefully this will work. I should be live streaming now. Yes, it looks like we are live streaming. So again, I'm Jim Munchback. Welcome to another episode of Personal Finance at the University of Houston, Bauer College of Business. We're going to talk about risk management and insurance planning. And with another hurricane, a big hurricane, this is an unusual, rather epic, potentially epic storm headed towards Tampa right now. So we will talk today about some insurance planning related to hurricane preparation, which if you're in Houston, that's a big topic. So we'll be doing that. So it's going to be insurance today. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. We also have a Zoom meeting going, and a couple of folks. Welcome to the Zoom room. If you have any questions in the Zoom room, do feel free. I'm looking that way because on my MacBook Pro, the screen is dedicated to the Zoom meeting, and everything else in the studio is not. So let me just see if I can, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that's the studio. It's not set up correctly right now, but anyway, we're going to get started in just a minute. I've already done a sound check with the Zoom room. Hopefully this is coming through just fine on the live stream. So yeah, we're going to talk about insurance. Here's a list. This is an old list, but if you're looking for kind of the bullet points of what we typically cover in this lecture, this would be it. We cover auto insurance, and we unpack the coverages in an auto insurance policy, which you will do. You will, even though these, I'm not going to cover exactly the same thing as I always do. Here we go. Sorry, I'm playing with my buttons again. So when we get started in just a minute, I'll go over what we will cover in this lecture. We're not quite ready to start. I like to give everybody a couple of minutes to get tuned in. Primarily, I've done that all this time since we've been doing asynchronous courses because students typically show up late to the Zoom meeting. But what I've found this semester, which is very different than previous semesters, is I think I've convinced students to tune in the live stream or whenever you want. If I were in this course as a student, I would definitely use YouTube. And the reason I would use YouTube is because you can hit the little gear icon and make the video go twice as fast. And I'm convinced that you can listen twice as fast as I can talk. So that's what I would do. And it seems like most students are doing that, which is totally cool. We are live streaming, so that's groovy. And the drawback is I don't get to have real-time interaction with you except for a few students who are very faithful to be here with me. And I appreciate that because even just a couple of students makes it feel like I'm talking to actual real people like I used to when I taught in the classroom. So anyway, we're going to get started today. We're going to talk about risk management and insurance. And let me go ahead and I'm going to put up the talking points here. Let me do this. And we'll just show what we're going to talk about. This is, again, insurance planning. Insurance is, by the way, something that I have a lot of letters after my name, and most of those letters, professional designations, relate to insurance. Obviously, financial planning as well, certified financial planner, but there's a lot of letters after my name that are related to insurance because I was an insurance agent at State Farm for many years. And so I'm just saying that while I'm not proud of it, if there is one area where I could be considered an expert, it would be in insurance. So That's not something I'm really proud of. It just is what it is. Insurance is pretty boring for most people. I find insurance and risk management fascinating, and so I'm going to try to make it as interesting as possible today. And so we'll cover insurance, auto insurance. You're going to do this week, you're going to do an auto insurance quote. So we'll do that. It is time to start, so we are live, and I'm just going to jump right in. I think what I'll do is take us to the next topic. So we're going to cover auto insurance. We're going to cover home insurance. I want to make sure you understand and can distinguish between property coverage and liability insurance. So we'll spend some time doing that as well. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to get an insurance quote. Some of you who were working ahead jumped into Money Study Group and started working on the assignment early, and that's awesome. I appreciate that, and I encourage you to do that. But in this particular assignment, you could get into some trouble with that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Finally, after you get your insurance quote, after you know what coverages you're comfortable with on your imaginary car, or if you actually have a car, once you have those coverages and you know why you selected those coverages when you get your insurance quote, then you're going to add those coverages to your financial plan and write capital. So that's we'll start off with hurricane planning. Let me just get to hurricane planning. So how to plan for a hurricane. If you've been watching the news, you know that there is a big storm headed towards Tampa right now, Tampa Bay, Florida. And if you live in Houston or you've spent any time in Houston, you know that hurricanes are probably the biggest exposure, the biggest peril, the biggest risk that we face on a coastal. If you live anywhere on a coast, you have to be aware of hurricanes. So as we talk about insurance, and because of what's going on out there in the Gulf right now, it does make sense to me that we talk about preparing for a hurricane. So hurricanes are unique because of the flooding element. That's a risk that comes with a hurricane. So when we talk about insurance, there are a lot of exposures, a lot of things that a hurricane involves. So we're going to talk about homeowners insurance. We're going to talk about auto insurance today. And I just want to set the table with this big thing called a hurricane so that you can kind of put in context how insurance planning works in this context for a hurricane. Now, I want to talk a little bit for a minute as we get started about my goal for this lecture, for this week, for this assignment. And my goal for you is every time I've taught this course, this lecture, every time I've taught this assignment, my goal is always to try to help you become a better consumer of insurance. And so that's what I want to do in this lecture, in this week's study, is I want to help you become a more prepared consumer. I want you to become a smarter consumer of insurance because insurance is a huge part of your budget. We're going to talk about auto insurance, which is, for most people, it's a big part of your insurance planning, car insurance. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about how the coverages work in your auto insurance. And then we're going to talk about how to get a quote for insurance, auto insurance. That's part of your assignment for this week. But I really just want you to understand kind of how the car insurance policy works. And, it's required in Texas. You are required to purchase home auto insurance. If you have a loan on your home, you're required to have home insurance too. But auto insurance is legally required. And so I don't know why we're seeing a picture of a burning house. That's the wrong video, obviously, for this scene. But anyway, we're going to talk about auto insurance. So let me see if I can get to, oh, there we go. We should see some car insurance. No, I think I made a mistake. We'll have to just get around it, I guess. So we're going to talk about home insurance. And that is another, your home is one of your biggest assets. So when you look in your financial plan, you were tasked to purchase a home, the home that you think you would want to live in if you got your dream job. So I want to talk a little bit about how insurance works on a homeowner's policy. And so what you're seeing on the screen right there is hail. Hail is really one of the it's one of the biggest risks that we face in Texas. It comes with hurricanes too, by the way. So homeowner insurance covers, well, actually where I live in Galveston County, and homeowners insurance does not cover windstorm, hurricane, and hail, because in this part of the country, the homeowners policy excludes that. So we'll talk a little bit about exclusions, and I want to help you understand what we're going to, what's covered in your homeowner's policy. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, I want to talk about I want to talk a little bit about hurricane preparation. So let's talk about that. Hurricanes, like I said, are they're a big risk in Texas, and they're a big risk if you're in a coastal area. So did you know that your homeowner's insurance, if you own a home, your homeowner's insurance does not cover flood? So that's one of the things I want to just kind of introduce you to, is the idea that certain perils are excluded from all policies. And so your homeowner's insurance policy, a lot of people don't know that the peril of flood is not covered on your homeowner's insurance. So if you didn't know that, make a mental note. That's a big deal. Okay, that's a big deal. If you don't purchase a separate flood insurance policy, and we have folks who have a home, who own a home, if you have insurance, or a mortgage rather, if you have a mortgage on your home, then the bank is going to require you to have these coverages. They're going to require you to have wind coverage and flood coverage in order to get a loan, to get a mortgage. So you need to know that. But that doesn't really help you understand what's covered and what's not covered on a homeowner's policy or an auto policy. The good news is, on an auto policy, you will have coverage for flood if you purchase a certain specific coverage on your auto policy. So again, this week you're going to get the opportunity to do an auto quote so that you have a better idea what coverages are available in an auto policy and which coverages make the most sense for you. You're just going to get to figure that out. That's one of the reasons that we do an auto insurance quote in this week's assignment, is because that's the best way for you to understand the coverages and how much they cost and what the options are. So I want you to experience that as if you're actually going to make that decision. So we'll do that here. Let me just jump up here and talk a little bit about couple of the things we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to add auto insurance and home insurance in Wright Capital. And I'm going to show you how to do that near the end of the lesson. But for now, I just want you to know that your auto insurance is it's a big part of your assignment, but it's typically a big part of your financial life too, because you're going to learn in this lesson that the exposures that you have for car insurance are significant. I mean, the ways that you can get in a financial jam if you don't have car insurance are significant. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's just talk about car insurance and how it works. Let me move this. So when you get your auto insurance quote, you're going to find out that one of the options, actually two of the options, are collision and comprehensive. So what you're seeing there on the screen is a picture of a collision. Somebody got in an accident. So if you get in an accident and your car gets destroyed, that car that you're looking at is it's absolutely certainly what we call a total loss. So when you have damage to your vehicle, that's covered under collision coverage. So you're going to want to just make a mental note that, like I said, if you have a loan on the car, the bank is going to require you to have collision coverage, and they're also going to require you to have comprehensive coverage. And those are the two main property coverages on your auto insurance policy that provide coverage for you. In other words, that's what, I don't know why we keep going to homeowners. Obviously, I made a mistake. I'll go back here. So those auto coverages, including comprehensive and collision, those are the two coverages you really want to be the most familiar with. So I want to talk a little bit about comprehensive coverage. And I'm going to tell you a story about a claim that I had a while back. Most people don't know that comprehensive coverage, and this, by the way, this is going to be your class collaboration. So let me just go here and look you in the eye and tell you that this week's class collaboration is going to be related to comprehensive coverage. Now, if you have a story about comprehensive using your auto insurance comprehensive coverage, you're welcome to share that as your class collaboration. That would be awesome. But I'm going to assume that most of you don't really know, aren't really familiar with this coverage, and I want you to be familiar with comprehensive coverage because in my opinion, it's about the best bang for the buck of any coverage on any policy you could purchase. And your auto insurance policy, if you have comprehensive coverage and you don't know what it is, then chances are you won't get the benefit or the value from that coverage. Now remember, collision covers you, pays for your car if you get in an accident and your car is destroyed. That's what collision coverage protects you for. Okay, that's a property coverage in your auto insurance. So collision coverage is required. Again, it's required by the bank. If you have a loan on your vehicle, you have to carry collision coverage and comprehensive coverage. So I want to distinguish those two coverages. In this week's class collaboration is about comprehensive coverage. I want you to just tell me, if you have a story, that's great, you can do that. Or I want you to just describe to me what is comprehensive and why would you want it and why would you consider it to be a valuable coverage. So first of all, just think about the word comprehensive. So what does that mean? What does the word comprehensive mean? You can leave a comment and that'll be part of your class collaboration. What does the word comprehensive mean? That's a good place to start if you want to understand comprehensive coverage on your auto insurance policy. And that's what I want you to understand is comprehensive. It's a property coverage. It pays you for damage to your car in the event that you have a claim that is covered under comprehensive. under comprehensive coverage. So as we are trying to learn how insurance works, this is a great place to start, just by thinking about the coverage, the name of the coverage that's inside of each policy. We're talking about car insurance. We're talking about a coverage called comprehensive. And I want you to think about, what does the word comprehensive mean? So I'm looking for I don't have a ton of folks there in the chat room, but if you have a definition of comprehensive, now's a good time to pop it into the chat if you're in the Zoom room, or if you're watching live